Welcome to another month of Celebrate the Seasons at 2peasinabucket.com. This month I've created a sketch that will work for 13 photos, with plenty of room for embellishment and journaling. The first thing I did was cut down my white cardstock to 10.5 inches by 10 inches and then round the outer corners. There's going to be a pretty wide brown cardstock border base around the layout. And then I've already pre-cut a bunch of strips to 6 inches tall that I'm going to adhere along the bottom portion of the layout where you see the photos and the paper strips in the sketch. Some of the strips I'm going to use a scalloped edge punch to just add a little bit of interest to those thinner strips along the bottom there. And then I printed my photos, some of them into collages on one sheet of paper. It just made it quicker for printing them out. The photos on the right side of the layout are all 2 by 2 inches and 2 by 3. And then the top you see there, that scallop border, is a die cut from the silhouette. And I cut that out and adhered it along the wider strip that goes across the top of the layout. These pieces of grass are also die cut from the silhouette, and I cut one of them out of some Making Memories glitter paper and the other just out of regular American Crafts cardstock, and layered them. The tree is also a silhouette cutout, die cut, and I cut out the tree trunk from some American Crafts paper, and then the rest of the tree is cut from some SEI velvet paper. The silhouette cuts this velvet paper from SEI so nicely. It works really well and adds some nice texture to your project. And then these die cut eggs you see here were actually cut with an older Sizzix die that I just have. In my supply list at 2Ps, I listed some quick cuts dies that are comparable to these. So if you want to cut some of your own, those would be a good option. And I'm just lining up the left side of the layout now with the right side. I already went ahead and adhered all those strips in the photos along the bottom. This is a really cute 2Ps in a bucket die made exclusively for 2Ps, and it's of course the little bucket and the little peas. Well, I just want to use the bucket. I thought it would be cute for an Easter basket, so I'm using some of that SEI velvet paper again, and I'm going to run it through the Quick Cuts Revolution. And I'm using 2 tones of gray to make my bucket. You can see it's just popping out of that paper there. You kind of have to, it cuts through, but you have to kind of just work it out carefully. And there I'm just going to pop out the darker one and the lighter one, and I'm going to take the darker edge from the darker paper and punch it out and layer it right over that lighter color of gray. Just add some nice shading and dimension to the die cut. Super cute, and I'm going to punch out the little handle for my bucket, and it makes a really cute little Easter basket. Just another way to use a die that you may not have thought of before. And I'm going to adhere that, and then I'm just going to kind of pop it underneath that scallop border along the top of my page. And I'm going to go ahead and pop a few more of those egg die cuts around the basket and inside the basket. And I used some Doodlebug sugar-coated or glitter paper for some of the eggs, as well as some regular American Crafts pattern paper for variety. And here you can see how cute the basket looks finished. For part of my title, I wanted to use some chipboard numbers. And I had these white ones from Heidi Swapp, but I really wanted some yellow letters, so I'm going to go ahead and custom make my own yellow numbers. And what I'm doing is I took this magnetic wand tool from Quick Cuts, and I just put a glue dot at the end and then stuck my letter to it, or my number to it, so that I don't get my hands messy in the process of doing this. And I'm just dipping the letter in some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to use this Zing embossing powder from American Crafts, and this is the mustard opaque color, and I'm going to dip my number into it and make sure I get it covered really well, and then I'm going to use my embossing gun to heat set that embossing powder right on that chipboard letter. This is a great way to customize any chipboard numbers or letters that you might have lying around at your house. When you're done with that magnetic wand tool, you can just peel the glue dot off the end and it cleans up really nicely. And now I'm going to finish working on the title, and I wanted to stamp part of it with these Ali Edwards stamps from Technique Tuesday. So I stamped it in Versamark and then sprinkled on some chestnut embossing powder from American Crafts, and then I heat set it. And I had originally used some of these white velvet Making Memories letter stickers, and what happened was they kind of got crispy looking when I heat set it, so I ended up cutting out my own title with some Doodlebug velvet flocked paper and my Quick Cuts Mary Jane alphabet. It worked out fine and much better, and there's a little tip for what not to do. Don't use velvet paper and your embossing gun in close range. For the rest of my date there, I am using just a parenthesis stamp I had in my collection, and I'm going to heat emboss that with some of this Aqua opaque embossing powder. I really, really like these embossing powders from American Crafts. They're very nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere my chipboard with some of these mini glue dots. And I really like these too. They come on these fun dispensers and really easy to use. I wanted to add a couple of notches to my layout, so I'm going to use this notch tool from Making Memories, and I put a self-healing mat underneath where I'm working, and I'm just kind of lining that up to see where I want the notch to be. Then I'm going to lift it up real careful and then just hammer that once or twice, and then carefully just kind of slip the edge of that matted portion of my layout underneath the little notch there. And then I'll add a little brad to the center of it just to add a little bit of embellishment to that notch. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Notches are just kind of an easy way to add just a little bit of interest to your layout. I really like that notch tool. It's kind of fun to use. And there you can see what it looks like with a little brad there in the center. Next, I wanted to go ahead and add a little bird to my tree. I thought it looked a little plain, so I die cut this quick bird from the Quick Cuts Revolution. It comes on a die with 3 different bird sizes, and this is the medium-sized bird. And I cut out the little bird's body and the wing and the beak out of different colors and added a mini flower and brad for the eye. And here's my journaling, and I printed it out on a regular piece of paper, and what I like to do is then go ahead and add a little adhesive over the printed area, and then I add whatever paper that I want to run through my printer to add the journaling. And in this case, I'm using some Heidi Swapp journaling spots, and there you can see what they look like once I've run them through my printer. And then I just kind of carefully peel those up. I'm going to go ahead and adhere those to my layout, and I'm just adding them over kind of the trunk of that tree there. Once I got all those journaling spots put in place, I decided I wanted to add just a little bit of string around the trunk of the tree, but I'd already adhered everything. So I just threaded some string on a needle, and I'm just running it right under that die cut there, and I'm just going to wrap it around a couple times and then tie it in a little bow and trim the ends. That's just an easy way to adhere some string or ribbon if you've already adhered everything down and don't want to rip it apart to redo it. So there you have it, a fun and bright Easter layout for April. I can't wait to see what great layouts you guys come up with this month. Thanks for watching.